So today we're gonna clear the air a little bit. I'm gonna talk to you about something that you might not hear a lot of other people talking about, especially when it comes to the topic of money, or at least I haven't. If you've heard this conversation or anything like it, make sure you let me know in the comments so I can go check it out. But today I want to talk to you guys about just basically the unique challenges that women with families and partners face when it comes to money. So, of course, if you're a single mom or a single woman, it's just one income. It's your own income, your own expenses plus your family's. But there's only one income. It's just you bringing money in. So it's tough. We know it's hard when you have a single parent income or household. But what I don't hear so much addressed is the issue of, okay, so I do have a second person in this house helping me, but at the same time, when we check some boxes, we also uncheck other boxes. So there are unique challenges that are presented when you do have another income in the household. So I wanted to just bring up a couple points on that topic today. So I guess we'll start by calling out some of the red flags that you might be looking for in your partner or potential partner. So when me and my husband met, we were, I don't want to say complete opposite when it came to credit and dealing with money, but kind of, sort of. So his credit score was not good when we met. But for me, working with people so long and giving them plans and options to do better and to improve, I knew when I gave him the solutions to get to progress and to do better and to build his credit, I knew he was going to follow him. So it was easy for me and it was easy for us to get on the same page because I kind of knew what was going on already. I just needed somebody who, would pick up their slack and, hop on the program, get with the program. And that's basically what he did. So I do want to say that sometimes you'll talk to someone and they'll say they want to do better, but you really got to watch their actions. All right. You can't take words word for words here. You're gonna have to see this person take some action and do some implementation to correct some of this stuff and to kind of clear up their mistakes from the past. But I guess the first red flag would be excessive debt. Now, most Americans do have some type of debt. So you may have to do some digging and figure out what kind of debt it is. I've done loans for men with mothers who have been in bad health, and the only option for health care was to put it on a credit card. I can deal with that. We can figure, you know what I'm saying? It's situation by situation. And sometimes you do have to, we all humans, we all people, and life happens. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. Now, another thing that you want to watch out for is for them to have a budget or some type of goal set. Because if they don't have a budget, they don't know where they are. And if they don't have goals, they don't know where they're going. So again, you can work with them. Is it realistic, the goals they're setting? Do y'all's goals align? Are they gonna, y'all constantly gonna have to fight about the things that you truly value and want to spend your money on? So they at least need to have some type of budget or some type of goals in mind for the future, short term, long term, something. Like I said, you always gotta dig and ask questions, but that could be a red flag. Living beyond their own means. And that's a tough one too because a lot of us do this. But again, you got to ask questions. Do they have two cars because their mom drives the other? Um, are they buying Jordans every Friday when they get paid? Um, are they taking trips on a credit card every year and paying it back slowly, taking longer than a year to pay it back? It's excessively living beyond your means. If your paycheck and your budget says Honda, you shouldn't be driving a Range Rover. Because at the first sign that Range Rover need a tire, you broke and you in trouble. So living beyond means, watch out for that. A regular income is a tough one as well. So I know, especially on my side, I never dealt with that. But as a mom, a regular income is the story of my life at this point. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. If you can manage and budget that irregular income, then okay, cool. But you can't make $6,000 in 2 months and then not make anything for the next, 6, 8. So be careful with the regular income. Not having an emergency fund can be a problem because as soon as something happens, what they gonna do? Uh, they, they might have, some decent credit and be able to borrow the funds, or they might turn around and ask you. So having no emergency funds, nothing set up for a rainy day, no plan for any contingencies or problems that, come with life, that's a tough one. And I know you're listening to this and you're thinking, I might got some of these red flags, but that's cool because we probably all do at some point somewhere with something. So impulsive spending is also a problem. Um, money does money's not happiness, but I believe money can buy happiness. But that's only if you're in alignment with your values and what truly makes you happy, your principles. Like buying just stuff emotionally based off how you feel impulsively is not what you want. So another red flag would be having no investments or no savings. Because bruh, like you either gotta have something sitting aside that you can use when you need it, or you gotta have something sitting aside growing for later when you need it. So again, take that how you want with a grain of salt. Borrowing from friends and family repeatedly is probably a red flag. Them people know that man or that woman is tripping, and they know they always need something. So they just done got to the point where they give it to them, or they got to the point where they don't give it to them at all, and they run as soon as they're calling. So that could be a red flag. And no financial independence, like ever in their life. Like they never been able to live on their own, have their own, residence, live by themselves, be functioning, have a job, have a car, be able to get where they need to get. Some people just got expired driver's license and no insurance. And I mean, we all know how. We know that there's rules. We might not be privy. We might not understand them all. We might need to do some research at times to figure stuff out. But we know, stuff go the way it go. So you gotta have some level of financial independence about yourself, or what. So that's a whole headache. That's another red flag. So outside of the red flags of potentially dealing with somebody else when it comes to you and your money, there's also some good things about it. So in my experience in a relationship and being with my husband for the last, I think we've been together 8 or 9 years. It's ebbs and flows. It's ups and downs. I personally have never been in a relationship with anybody that I didn't make more money than until my husband. So I don't know if that has anything to do with how successful our relationship has been as far as it goes with finances. Because I'm good with what I got, and so, but take that with that. So when you do have two people, that gives you shared responsibility. So all our joint bills like water, electricity, the internet, at one point we split 50-50 because we was living in the same house. Duh. So once I got to the point where I wasn't so independent when it came to my money and I had to rely on part-time work, fewer hours, not working at all, the responsibility, the financial responsibility of the household became more, I don't want to say more shared, but we actually have to strategize and how we meet each other when it comes to finances, and we have to do that often. It seems more often now. So now we've got two boys and I work part-time. But before, when I was working full-time and we had just my oldest, it was like, cool, I can handle that. But now it's just like we don't fuss over money. But I don't like asking. It's hard to ask for stuff when you've been independent your whole life and it's outside factors that you can't really control. So at the end of the day, we don't fuss about money, but there are problems. We do have problems that could be solved with money. And we both understand that. We both communicate well with each other. We both strategize well. We do have common goals. We do like to, sit down and talk about it. But at this time, the shared responsibility falls more on my husband. But you do have that benefit when you have another person. You also have the benefit of risk sharing. So if we did invest in something or we did make a move that we weren't so sure about, if it did go wrong, it wouldn't all fall on me. If it just failed horribly, I got somebody who can pick up behind me. In 2020, when I left my job, I talked to my mom, I talked to him, I was ready to go, and it was scary. Like, it was definitely scary. Just not having a job when you have for the past 15 years of your life, and all of a sudden you don't have to go to work, get up and go to work every day was definitely different. But that's another point. But risk sharing, you're able to share the risk with your partner, and that way you could take more. The more risk, the better the reward. So that's a plus. You also have dual income. Might not always be two income. Sometimes it's just him. Sometimes it's me with a little bit. Sometimes it's me with a lot. Hopefully it's just gonna be me with a lot and then us with a lot soon. But access to capital is also another one. So it's over the past 4 years, I've been in and out of work. Like I said, if you don't work, you don't have income, you don't have proof of income, you can't get loans, can't invest. He was working. He can get loans. Put it in his name. Healthcare benefits. He's carried me and both the kids on his healthcare plan at his job since they've been born. That's definitely a huge benefit. I'll probably be coming out of pocket $400 or $500 if I was by myself. Probably more, from what I hear, but I don't have to worry about that. Tax benefits. So I'm definitely not going to speak on this long because me and taxes don't get along at all. Matter of fact, I ain't even gonna go into that at all. But tax benefits of being married. You filing jointly, I guess the itemization, the standard deduction is higher. You get different benefits. I know last year was the first time that we filed jointly, even though we were married 3 years before that. But so now we'll be filing jointly from here on out. It wasn't too huge of a change. His name went first on the tax application. Mine went second. Filled in everything important. That was it. As far as the benefits go, y'all, I'm not even going to try to get into them specifically. Just know that there are tax benefits to being married. You have flexible work arrangements. Again, I don't want to be flexible all the time, but I have that choice. When the kids are sick, I'm the one staying out, but I got somebody who's still going to work and get some income. Like when I worked at home in the evenings, he did baths and put him to bed. So there's flexibility when there's somebody else in the house. Now I will say there could be more flexibility, and there I'll probably do a video on the what they call the default parent, because I don't even want to start because it'll be a long video. So we'll talk about that later. But it does give more flexible work arrangements. Emotional support. Definitely emotional support helps because we now get paid on opposite Fridays. So emotional support comes into play when I got borrowed $100. I know you got paid, so let me borrow it. I don't have it. That's emotional for me. That's emotional support because I gotta ask. I gotta ask now. But yeah, he there. Because if he didn't have it, then what? He understands. Next. So you're gonna have to have open communication, period. Whether both of y'all bad with finances, whether one of y'all are bad and one of y'all are good, whether both of y'all are good, you're gonna have to have open communication. And that's where the spot where we are. So at this point, when we met, I believe his credit score was like a 560. and now he's in the high sevens. His credit score is not higher than mine, it's very close, but he has more available credit to him now because his income is so much higher than mine. So he probably, I would say, has more purchasing power. Sometimes we apply jointly, sometimes we apply separately, depending on what we're applying for and what we're going to do with it, how long the line or the loan's going to be open. So communication is key. Transparency is key. I call transparency. Um, when we met, I spoke on having children, and I always wanted a home birth, and I let him know that was going to be a huge upfront expense. Um, you got to be transparent. Period. I mean, how you feel, your emotions. Let your emotion aspect. Talk about it. Talk about the decisions that you want to make and the goals and the plans, because that's your partner. Like they're here, they're there to help you critique those things, help you strategize. And sometimes I don't want to be hearing what he's saying, but at the end of the day, I know he has our best interest, so I'm gonna take it to him. Um, So some couples go ahead and create legal and financial agreements, prenups. Make sure that your spouse is joint, if not joint beneficiary on all your accounts, but you do want to make sure that you cover the whole range of things like life insurance, like mortgages in case somebody passes. Joint accounts are good, but if those other accounts, like we have joint accounts that we pay bills from, then we have separate personal checking accounts. Your spouse or your partner needs to be beneficiary on those if they're not joint. Joint means they can do whatever, withdrawal, deposit now. Beneficiary or payable on death, POD, just means that if you were to pass away, the deposits or the accounts balance doesn't have to go through probate court. The beneficiary goes ahead and gets access to that. So that's a good thing to know. So you also want to understand your partner's attitude and approach towards finances. That's one of the first things. So in the beginning, where I talked about us being kind of the opposites with money, his credit score wasn't so great, but he was definitely willing to work on that and to build it. So attitude the attitude is a big thing. They gotta wanna change. It's a big change. It can be difficult to change the way you feel and talk and make decisions based on money, but you gotta have some type of understanding of where they are when it goes there. So you are also gonna have to be transparent and be an active listener when it comes to them. So for a long time, Anthony followed my lead when it came to money and spending and investing and just thinking and, forward fast and fast tracking. But after a while, I noticed that he kind of caught up to me. So now I find myself listening more to what he says and the things, the input that he brings. So I dare to say that he's smarter than me when it comes to real estate transactions, negotiating. There's a few places that I'll say that he's smarter than me, but there's a lot of places where he's going to say that I'm smarter than him too. And I think we play well off of that and we listen well and strategize well together. You are going to need common goals. So, you can have separate goals to yourselves, of course, but you also want to have some shared goals because you got to be working towards something together. So our biggest goal is for everybody to be at home, him, me, not working outside the house, and the kids staying at home. No education 5 days a week outside the house, any of that. So though that's definitely a common goal. I know he ready to get out of, his spot. I've been in and out of mine, and I've had that feeling and I've enjoyed that time. I've also seen the downside because it's very hard. Just even being out of work and just staying home is very tough. I'll get into that on another video too. But you want to budget together because if you got common goals, you got to have a common plan or common strategy to get there. And it may help you to designate roles and responsibilities. So maybe somebody handles all of the bills that come into the account, and then maybe the other person handles growing the money. Or maybe for a time period, this person makes all the money. So you're responsible for managing it. So you may want to designate roles and responsibilities to give you some clarity. Maybe that'll keep away from some arguments or, some tough discussions in the beginning, just at least so you can get the ball rolling. So you could also do a challenge. Y'all could do like a savings challenge, save a certain amount by a certain time. You could do a savings challenge, like a refinance challenge. You could find somewhere to refinance your vehicle or your house to save money. You could do, I don't know, buy a house in the next 12 months challenge. Prepare yourselves for that. You could do, we always competitive with our credit scores at this point. So it's always, all right, who scores the highest? One of my favorites is financial dates, and it don't have to be all stuffy and stuck up and boring, because honestly, y'all, I love to go to a nice restaurant with my husband, dress up, and talk about how we're gonna get some more money. Like, it don't even have to be set in stone. All right, this and this, but we're gonna visualize. We're gonna have a mission. We're gonna leave dinner with some type of idea of how we can better ourselves and our future and our finances for the future. So I definitely recommend financial dates. Like I said, it can be, y'all can go to your favorite restaurant, speak over dinner and drinks, just about building wealth and how you can get better with money and make better decisions overall. That's definitely one of my favorites. And then you could also read books together, do courses together, watch movies together. Like, there's Netflix series, documentaries on money. I think Ramit, I can't never remember his last name, but there's a really good documentary there. You could watch that together and discuss what you figure. You could sit down and just ask each other questions about how you feel about money, how you would handle this situation, or what if this occurred, or what if that occurred. I mean, there's a lot you can do. So hopefully this is enough to kind of get you started with your person. But I do feel like there are resources for single moms or single parents, rightfully so. But at the end of the day, motherhood is what changed my relationship with money the most, and it has been one of the biggest challenges to this day for me. And working on that basically on a day-to-day basis has basically taken over my brain, because this is the only way that I see the future that I want for my children. And that is building a business that does not require me working 40 hours a week. That does not require overhead for the cost of a building. That does not require that, be stuffy. And I talk about how we can refinance a vehicle, and like, we're gonna make this easy at the end of the day so that we can get it done. But so that's all I got as far as being in a relationship and handling finances. If you got any specific questions, or you want me to touch on something a little bit more than I spoke on in the video, just leave a comment at the bottom. If I don't hear from you today, or now, look forward to the next video and maybe your comments there. All right, I'm out for today. Have a good one.